What do you remember about your outpatient therapy?
I remember that more clearly than I remember any of the other therapies.
Would you have gotten speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy?
I had neuropsych therapy also from the beginning, and I had neuropsych, speech, PT, and OT. 3 days a week, maybe 5, and then decreased to 3.
We don't see a lot of neuropsych therapy, so tell us about your neuropsych therapy.
I had that. That's probably what helped me the best. I still, 26 plus years after, I try to contact my neuropsych once a year, just socially, and say hi. I send him Christmas cards. I know when I started it, I didn't trust him, and I was afraid that neuropsych was to evaluate me if I needed to go to an asylum or not. And it took a while, months, and then I started realizing that my neuropsychologist was on my side and that he was doing everything he could to help me. And I could actually make lists with my neuropsychologist and say, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, and he'd help guide me. I don't know how to describe what he did. Maybe he helped me find avenues that I could go into to reach the goals that I wanted, maybe. So in the beginning with neuropsychology, I don't remember. I know that at one point my neuropsychologist suggested that I keep journals and that would help me understand what I was having problems with, and that I could review my journals at any time to see what I had done right and wrong in the past. I kept those journals for almost 20 years, and that's how I created my book. So my neuropsychologist somehow got to me when I'm thinking if I could revert. I guess when I became alert from the coma, my brain functioning had related to what I equate to as less than a newborn child, because I couldn't eat independently, I couldn't walk, I couldn't crawl, I couldn't do anything independently, and my brain functioning developed pretty rapidly. And once, I think I started journaling, because I've seen my journal and I've gone over it, and I'm thinking that I started journaling when my brain developed to about that of a 5-year-old, and I was 25. So as I go through my journal and I see where I've developed and where I had been able to understand different things, I knew that my neuropsychologist had helped me all along the way.
Your sessions with him were every day?
When I was an inpatient, yes. When I don't know if at one point it went to 3 times a week, and maybe at the very end it was once a week. I saw him until 1992.
Do you want to give his name?
Yes, I do. His name's Dr. Peter Yanni.
And Dr. Yanni, you say you saw him until 1992, and it probably is fairly easy for you to describe the sessions in the 90s. But can you describe the sessions, let's say in the summer of 1986?
I remember the most specific sessions that I remember with Dr. Yanni is when he would start sentences and ask me to finish them. And sometimes they were easy sentences, like the sky is, and then I would say blue. Then they developed and they got really, really hard. What I thought was really, really hard. Doctor would say, I write this in my book, Doctor would say, a man was walking down the street and then he wanted me to finish that. And I was afraid to finish it the way that I thought, because again, if I said the wrong thing, maybe he would send me to an asylum or something. But I developed, and he knew when I fabricated my answers and when I was giving true answers of what I thought. But basically I would end up saying, and he walked across the street and got hit by a car, things like that. So I remember that kind of therapy. What else therapy do I remember with Doctor? Like you said, I can remember the 90s, and I can remember the late, you know, I remember I got married in 1989, and the car accident was in 1986. So I pretty much remember my neuropsychology from 1989 to 92. But prior to that, probably just finish the questions kind of thing. Doc did ask me for a long time, what did I dream? And I remember not dreaming for a long time. I remember doctor told me, you need to remember your dreams. That you'll get better when you start remembering your dreams. And I didn't remember my dreams, so I lied to him. And I remember making up stories. And then I remember when I started remembering my dreams, and I was so excited. And my beginning dreams were simple, easy dreams. Kind of like you'd think of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, kind of things like balloons and pretty colors and flowers. And I didn't want to tell him that those were my dreams, because I thought that I remember neuropsychology was so important, and I didn't want to take some silly little dream and take up my neuropsychology time. So I don't think that I spoke truly and from the heart with my neuropsychologist for a couple years. But of course that's his profession, and he obviously figured it out, so.
You mentioned that you had this fear that he was going to send you to a mental institution. Is that because the word psychology is in the name neuropsychology?
Yeah.
Explain.
I don't know, probably. I've always been a huge movie person, and I've always loved horror movies and science fiction, and of course in all of those there's something psychological that goes on, and I'm just assuming that that's what I thought. Okay, psychology, he's gonna tie me up or put me in a straitjacket, or yeah.